Great to see so many people, so many enthusiasts, technology enthusiasts who are curious to know and learn something new. I think that's the main goal of your industry as well, let's say, and what you do. So thank you also so much. That's great, but we'll continue. So it's fantastic to see you all. My name is Dr. Ina Armstrong. I'm one of the representatives from Clever Books. And at Clever Books, we do believe that education technology like augmented reality can make a difference in students' learning and certainly can help you as an educator to deliver the material more efficiently and also excite kids in their learning journey. I'm very curious to know a few things about you as well. That would definitely help me to structure today's workshop to the point where you can get the most benefit. So I would greatly appreciate if we could have a little bit of a dialogue. You're very welcome to unmute yourself if you feel like it, or you're very welcome to use the chat to answer the questions. I'll try to make sure that you don't have to type for a very long time. But if you could put plus, minus, 1, 2 when I ask the questions, that would be fantastic, because it will help me navigate in terms of how much detailed information I have to give you on a specific topic, and understand if you're completely new to the whole concept of augmented reality, or if you already have a little bit of information about that. So in my, just a little bit about myself, I've been myself with international school community for over 20 years, and I've been in the classroom as an assistant teacher, but at that time we didn't really have so much technology. That was quite a long time ago, and I was an assistant teacher in one school in Asia and one school in Europe, in an international school. So that was quite an interesting experience, you know, to definitely work with the students. And as I worked in international schools, in my class in kindergarten, we had 18 kids from 18 different countries. Which makes it quite difficult, let's say, to sometimes, due to the linguistic barriers, not all of them could speak perfect English, and some of them were also struggling with learning math, etc. So at that time, we had to use traditional methods of teaching and help the students to pick up as much information as possible. So nowadays things have changed, and due to COVID, definitely things have completely shifted, and we were forced to completely move to digital with certain aspects. And that's why I would say more and more educators kind of keep looking for digital technologies that can help them to enhance the curriculum and also provide, let's say, more efficient tool to deliver the material. And today we'll start talking about augmented reality technology as it is, and then we'll gradually move to what Augmented Classroom by Clever Books is. So it would be fantastic for me to know how familiar are you with AR? So maybe put a plus if you're already familiar, if you've used it, any different applications, and maybe put a minus if you're completely new to learn about this technology and you've never used that. Okay. Interesting. We have quite a lot of people who are completely new. So great. Well, thank you very much for your feedback. New to the concept. Wow. Okay, so it looks like we'll be talking a bit first about what augmented reality is before we even move to Augmented Classroom as an example of one of the solutions. So let me, just before we go, let me just do a couple of announcements. We structure the workshop that first we'll discuss what augmented reality is, what the benefits of this technology, how it evolved over the last few years, and why it actually made a solid space in education nowadays. And the second part of the webinar, we'll be talking about Augmented Classroom. I'll try to give you a couple of practical suggestions, and you can join my class, you can be my students today, and see how you can utilize technology that can help you visualize learning in a 3D concept or in an augmented reality concept. So, and to receive the certificate of participation, you're very welcome to reach out to Spectronics. I think you minimum need to attend 2 sessions, and after that you will be getting the certificate of participation. I did ask this question in the chat already, so it would be fantastic if you can, think about what is it that you would like to get from this workshop. Again, that would be a good feedback for me to maybe if you have any specific questions, you're also very welcome to put them in the chat at any time, and I'm monitoring the chat and I'll try to answer your question as well. At the same time, as we in the second part of the workshop going to go through some of the content that is available as part of Augmented Classroom as a solution, I would strongly suggest you, if you would like to experience real augmented reality in class today, or in the workshop today, please download an application that is called IRC Geometry from the App Store. It could be from the Google Play or Apple Store, doesn't really matter. And this is how this application looks like. And then we'll come back to launching this app when we're doing the practical tasks. Now, the important thing is that if you're watching from the mobile device, and then it would be difficult for you to launch this app on the mobile device as well. So just keep in mind that you can experience on your mobile device if you have it separate and if you're watching from your computer. Okay, good. Then let's jump into it. What we've seen basically in talking to educators in different parts of the world, I personally have conducted over 900 interviews over the past 3 years with educators on the topic of application of augmented reality in education, starting from the US all the way to Australia and New Zealand. So any country, and it was very definitely was very interesting to see how it varies, why people want to adopt augmented reality, and also which challenges it helps to solve. But if I was to summarize about the main challenges that educators currently face, that they use augmented reality for, is definitely to improve students' engagement by using digital technology, also to visualize specific abstract objects or subjects that otherwise are not possible or very difficult to explain. So it helps them to very efficiently deliver specific material. And also the technology provides to personalize learning environments, because we know students have different learning styles. Some are visual, some of the kinesthetic, some have the audio skills more developed. And augmented reality actually is one of the technology that will help students to see, hear, and touch the knowledge in one. And we also talk quite a lot about inclusivity of education. And as augmented reality, very interactive technology, we've seen quite a lot of application of this tech, specifically if we talk about students with special needs and learning difficulties. We've conducted pilots with Down Syndrome Association, with students with special needs like autistic students, with students with ADHD. And it was extremely interesting to see how this inclusivity of those students in the mainstream education was improved, and they could actually participate in the same activities as other students because of the capability of this technology. So really, in a sense, why AR has such a tremendous impact on students' learning, or just generally in the business or education industry, it brings subjects to life. And the students are so interested in what is happening right in front of their eyes that they're fascinated to want to learn more. They're fascinated to interact with it because they can hear the sound, they can hear the animals, let's say, making those sounds right in front of them. They can see them in a 3D experience, and they can pop up right in front of them. And obviously the activities that are now available with different augmented reality resources really immerse students in learning. At the same time, the important point here is, if we take as an example augmented reality vs virtual reality, is that with virtual reality, as you might have experienced or have seen, that you need to put the goggles. And obviously it immerses students in the virtual environment. However, as a teacher, as an educator, you lose control of your class at a certain point. Because students don't see, once they put the helmets on, they can't really see what is happening in front of them. So that's why, if we talk, for example, about primary education, we've heard feedback from so many teachers that augmented reality technology really allows the teacher to facilitate those interactive lessons, but at the same time to be in control. And the students still see the teacher as the main person in the class. They still can hear them, but at the same time, they have this opportunity to engage in the immersive technology and kind of virtual learning environment. It was also interesting to see, to hear what people were saying back in 2018 when we started doing the interviews with educators. In fact, on our website, cleverbooks.eu, we do have a section where you can see some of the interviews and the podcasts that we did back in 2018, 2019. And at that time, we were talking to educators and asking them, what are your projections for how this technology can immerse in the education sector? Basically, because at that time, obviously, businesses were already starting to use augmented reality, and in the last 2 years, it completely shifted. You can see now medical students and engineering students using it in the universities, as well as it entered the mainstream business environment, where different brands now use augmented reality even in their marketing activities. So it's something that is definitely there. And the interesting part here is that because it's a technology that is widely used in business now, that brings us to the point that when the students are graduated from school, they need to know the technology and they need to fit the workforce and having the skills to be able to use this technology. That's why many educators are saying that we want to bring, we want to build the awareness of students using that technology from the early age. So when they graduate, they're actually better equipped with skills and knowledge, and they can better perform in the workforce environment. At the same time, when we talk about augmented reality, we also need to see how that contributes to the whole concept of digital transformation in the education segment. We all know that education is always a little bit behind in terms of adopting certain technologies specifically. And it's interesting to see that apart from immersive artificial intelligence, adaptive learning, smart boards, or smart classrooms, as they call them, video conferencing, online technology that we've all experienced in the last 2 years because of COVID, that we were forced to experience, some of us. Augmented and virtual reality also makes a cut to this concept of digital transformation. And back in 2019, we actually did a comprehensive research from Clever Books, and we did a little bit of statistics of what technology educators project to be used as part of education. And it was interesting to see that many of them had quite a lot of hopes for augmented reality. And then once the research started coming out on application of AR in education, on its future potential, also the market trends, talking about AR industry specifically in the education landscape, you can see that what we so far received is that by 2025, AR will be one of the technologies that will penetrate the education sector, probably with the highest potential. And there are some reasons to it. As you can see, that it's a technology that provides an opportunity for storytelling, annotation, and visualization, and creates this concept of more efficient, effective, interactive, and engaging learning environments. That's why it's so and so fun. And I think that's what sometimes we're missing a little bit, is to have fun, but also knowing how to use digital technology strategically. So that's what it's all about. It's not about just using the screen time, and we all understand how it could be frustrating, but it's about teaching our students on how to use that digital technology strategically and how they can develop necessary skills to then fit the future workforce. At the same time, if we look 2 years from now, we can see that we've been definitely restricted in terms of what we can do with students. Some of the outdoor trips that were possible before no longer became possible for us. We were stuck in our virtual learning environment, or when we could, we went to the classroom. But at the same time, it prevented students to see certain things that going to the zoo as an example, or doing specific science experiments. Obviously, some schools don't have the equipped labs because it's too expensive, because some of the experiments also could be dangerous to perform. And obviously, other schools maybe did have opportunity to do so, but were restricted in the last few years. So again, we've seen tremendous adaptation of augmented reality in the last 2 years because it provided this opportunity to students still learn, still do the virtual trips to the zoo, or still perform specific science experiments. So the learning environments in the remote settings was still interactive, engaging, and the students felt like they're doing something with their hands as well. And from a pedagogical perspective, I think the biggest benefits that we keep hearing from teachers, again, when they talk about application of AR, and probably what they would like to see as part of this technology be part of the enhancing the curriculum, is definitely helping the students to develop digital skills that would be then, let's say, like critical thinking, like creativity, that would help them to better adopt in the changing workforce. Something that we don't know. 10 years back, we never heard of a job positioning like UI UX designer, and it's here now. The same thing, we never know what the jobs will be in the future. So our goal is to not really prepare the students in terms of the subjects, but in terms of the skills that they need to develop to be able to fit that future workforce. Also, when we talk about augmented reality, it's a technology that helps to adopt certain gamification aspects with academic relevance, and also provide an opportunity to teachers to use this technology across different devices. We all know that not every school is equipped with iPads or let's say Chromebooks. So definitely the variety, the technology that can be utilized in any devices that are currently available, it's a great asset. And before, augmented reality was something that you can experience using your mobile device, an iPad or a mobile phone, and that's when the real subjects will pop up. And obviously that was a very interesting concept. The content was limited, and the teachers would perceive that as a nice have technology, not a must have, just, to spice up a little bit of their lessons. But interesting how it's changed as it's working now across different technologies, starting from personal computers, where you can experience 3D learning environments, as well as Chromebooks or tablets, all the way to interactive boards, where it's a completely different experience, where multiple students can interact with the content on a big screen, to obviously mobile devices where you have the real augmented reality experience. And a big part of using AR now, something that wasn't possible back in 2018-19, is before you just had an application, an AR application that you would launch, and you point the camera of your device at the specific picture, we call it a marker, and then this elephant or, I don't know, country will pop up in front of you. And that was really it. There was not so much interaction with the content. The content was pre-designed. And obviously, if we talk about the pedagogical value of a digital solution, then in this perspective, teachers would like to have something that's where students can develop their creativity, critical thinking, and collaborative skills. And nowadays, definitely it is possible. There are solutions where you can not just explore pre-designed content limited to specific topics and aspects, but also where students can create their own content, where they can actually work in teams and co-create simultaneously in the same augmented environment, and where they can collaborate performing different activities. Again, using kind of a multi-user environment, like you would to play, games in pairs before, the same concept. So as well as perform interactive quizzes, not just in class, but also outdoor. So that really brings us to the point that augmented reality definitely has a huge potential and should be at least considered. Obviously, we're all different and we all have different teaching styles. It would be interesting to see how you once you've had a trial of augmented classroom as one of the solutions, you can see how that would fit your teaching style, how you would see an application of it in your class. But I think the most important thing to know for you is that when we talk about new technology, it's not about bringing something, an addition to what you're already teaching, but it's a matter of maybe changing certain things. Let's say if you were teaching about the world using a world map or globe, it's one way of presenting the material. An alternative would be to launch an augmented reality application as part of the augmented classroom, IRC geography, and then you can let the students explore different countries and different continents in a 3D learning environment. So it's just, you're exchanging the traditional way of teaching by bringing new technology to spice up a little bit the lessons. Are there any questions at this stage? If you do have a question, I would ask you to put a plus, and then, I can continue as you're typing, but I'll know that I need to be attentive to the chat. If you don't have any questions, that's okay. Good. So it seems like any questions you have here? Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much. So I will now change to showcase you how the solution works, and you can have a little bit of practical experience with that. Just a kind reminder that you can, after this presentation, you can create your account in Augmented Classroom. And you can just go directly to this link. And once you create your free account, you'll get access to a 14-day trial. And you would be able to experience all the features that are part of the solution. However, if you would like to initiate a more comprehensive trial, maybe to bring also your colleague along and have it a wide adaptation for your school, you're very welcome to request with Spectronics a 4-week pilot. And we can get on the call and we can discuss specifically the needs of your school. We can do the specific onboarding training for you. So you have the opportunity to more efficiently use that solution and see how it can fit the curriculum. So both options are there. For the individual trial, you're very welcome to just register. And then you can see all the subscription options that are part of Augmented Classroom and see if it would be something that you would like to onboard for your class or for your school. Good, then we will go now into exploring the solution. Once you land on Augmented Classroom page, you have the opportunity to create a free account, as I mentioned, that will provide you the 14-day free trial. We discussed that Augmented Classroom as one of the solutions can be used in multiple languages. And you can see that you can change the language here. If you have any students from different countries, if you work in an international school, for example. If not, you also have an opportunity to deliver interactive lessons using different devices. And the main aspect of using this solution is the exploration of pre-designed content that can supplement or contribute to the curriculum delivery, where students can create and co-create in the 3D learning environment or in the augmented reality environment, and that we can collaborate when you assign them specific activities. The important point here is that students don't create any accounts. You are the main facilitator using this platform. Only teacher creates an account. And once you create an account, you would be able to facilitate interactive lessons by sharing with students a code or a link. I'll show you how it works today, and that's how your students will join in. They join in anonymously. They can enter their nickname or their real name. So it depends on how you would like to facilitate that, because then you definitely would like to see the statistics of their performance. But we don't collect any personal data. And I think it's one of the benefits of the solution, because many ask students to create the individual account, which brings a little bit more complexity. Anyway, so once you've created the account, you will land on this page here. We do strongly recommend for you to watch this 4.5-minute introduction video. It will give you an overview on what the solution is. And basically, the solution combines 3 main points or pillars, as we call them. First of all, it has the content that you can utilize that can supplement the curriculum, where you can present different subjects in the 3D learning environment. The second thing is that it has an open library of activity plans and also alignment to the curriculum. The activity plans are created and submitted by educators like yourselves. So if you feel like contributing to the open library, you're very welcome to send us a request. As you can see, we'll be listing it in the open library, and we'll definitely acknowledge you as a contributor. And we also have the curriculum outline, and we have alignment to main curriculums, including Australian curriculum, how it fits specific standards, which grades you could use, which year, what kind of subjects you can teach, and what kind of application you can use, with suggestions of activity plans that you can take as an example. It's not necessity that you adopt all of them, but just gives you an example and the idea what is possible. You can definitely check more in regards to how the Augmented Classroom helps students to develop the necessary skills, how it fits the STEM framework, and also additional curriculum aspects. And the third main part is that you also can create a digital library of books or activities, and you can just share with your students. So let's say if I would like to share this worksheet with my students, all I have to do, and this is where we come to a practical application. If you're watching me now from your laptop, I just send you the link to in the chat. So all you have to do is just click on that link, and you should be able to access this worksheet from your computer. So that's what you would do. You just share either the questionnaire with your students or the worksheets to perform, or an ebook that they can get access to. So let's go back then to more interactive activities. I have asked you before we started this workshop to download IRC geometry application. Please put number 1 if you have downloaded it. Okay, Kimberly, thank you. Fantastic. Great. Oh, I see many people have downloaded. Great. Then we'll start with this application, and you can see how that works on the mobile device. Just to repeat that if you're watching Zoom on your mobile device, I'm not sure if it would be you would be able to combine both, but you can certainly try. Just as long as you have the device available to separately, that would be fantastic. If you haven't downloaded the app, don't worry, I will send you the link, and you will be joining the 3D learning activity on your laptop and Chromebook. I will stop sharing the screen for a moment, as I would like to do a double screen for you. I would like to, if you for some reason can't experience neither, then it would be great if obviously you can see how that is done from a student perspective. So that's why I'll show you both the teacher screen and the student screen. So you should be able to see both of those now. Good, then if you have downloaded the app, please launch the app now. And that would be your first step. As a teacher, I will open the geometry application now, and in my web browser, and I can choose the language to which that I can present this lesson to you today, but we'll be learning about shapes today, and I will click begin the class. Now I have a choice. I can provide you with a link if you're joining from the web-based interface. Let me put it in the chat. So please just click on the link if you would like to join from your laptop or your computer. And as you can see on the right-hand side, I did it myself. And that's the screen you should be able to see. Enter your nickname. Once you enter your nickname, you will join the class without registration. You will enter the waiting screen. And you can play a little bit with the owl as you're waiting. If you're joining from the mobile device, you need to add this, click on launch the app, and then add the code, class code, WR57. And the next step, you'll be asked again to enter your nickname, and that would be your journey to join from the mobile device. In both cases, you should be able to see a waiting screen with a crazy owl going back and forth where you have to catch it. So can you please put a minus if you had any challenges in joining the class? And if you did, then maybe you can elaborate what the challenge was. Otherwise, as a teacher, I see that the 17 people have already joined my class, and we're ready to start. If you join a bit later, you might miss the first activity, but then you would be able to get to the other one. Good. Then let's start with a math gamification game. It's a multi-user activity. That means that you will be divided into teams. As you can see that I have multiple teams now. You need to click start. If you're using a mobile device, your main goal would be to point the camera of your mobile device towards this marker picture on the side. That's how you will see the gamification aspect. If you're just in your web browser, that's the picture that you're looking for. The main goal here is, first of all, you do the additions. 4 plus 5 is 9, and it's a square base, so you have to find number 9 and put it in the right place. You can also, manipulate it, look from different perspectives, but that would be your activity now as a student to complete this task. So I see I have 2 other players in my room. Would you be able to please also try to start dragging and dropping the objects? So fantastic. As you can see that there are 2 people already working, and at the same time, I can do my things. So in a sense that we are collaborating in the same environment. And it depends how, as a teacher, you want to structure this lesson, because there are 2 options. Option 1 is you create a competitive environment where students as quickly as possible should be able to put the right activities. And the second thing is that you can create it mostly if you know that you work with students with special needs, as an example, then you need to you can say that, Peter, you will be responsible for squares, and Mark, you will be responsible for circles. In this way, you give equal opportunities to students to be able to perform the task. Fantastic. I see we have some of us have difficulties a little bit with math, so let's try to make it work. 8 plus 1 is 9. So the number over an object is the answer to the addition that you have to do. So fantastic, here we go, we have 3. So, oops, I can only see my camera. Okay, so if you can only see your camera, you might need to just close the app and try again. But once you point the camera of your device towards this picture, the marker, the rectangle, you should be able to visually see the same landscape as on the student screen now. You might have to pin yourself. Okay. have anyone else had challenges in experiencing? I see number 9 flying back and forth. We have 8 plus 1 in my screen and it needs to be put right here. Ta-da! So please put a plus if you were able to perform the activity. For mobile, you cannot see the board. Okay, good. Nikki, maybe I see that some of the, good, well, we have some pluses. Good, let's then switch an activity. And as you can see, I'm coming back now to the teacher screen. I see that only Navy team for some reason had issues because there are no completed tasks, but all the other teams have actually performed very well. So I can end the task now and I will switch to another activity now. As you can see, whatever I'm doing as a teacher is I'm the, let's say, facilitating the activities. But you as a student, always wait until I've assigned you an activity and then you can perform the task. So now I've changed it to shapes. And again, your screen has changed. So what you can do is you can click on different shapes. You can check them from a 3D perception. Let's say, move them around, see about different fractions, experience the 2D learning environment. So you can have the flexibility of manipulating with it. If you're joining from the mobile device, I would have to switch you between different shapes. Right now, you have the rectangle, hexagon right in front of you. So if you could please click on hexagon and point camera of your mobile device towards the hexagon, you would be able to experience the same learning environment. Okay, it took quite some time for the numbers to appear. It could be the case that of internet connection, so different things. It could be sometimes, you know, because we've, as you can see, I'm facilitating your class today from Germany. So in remote settings, sometimes it could be, you know, an issue for some reason. But once you facilitate the class to your students in the same geographical location, you know, that could be different experience as well. So I'll change you to a triangle now. If you're from the mobile device, then maybe you can point at the mobile device. Okay, Liana, if I don't hold my iPad in the right place facing the screen, it disappears. That's correct, because the main goal, of course, is that for the software to recognize specific points on this picture marker, and that's how it brings the augmentation. And sometimes when you come too close, it could disappear, but it's just a specific of the solution or the technology, I would say. Good. So this is an example of how things work. And just as a last bit, I can assign an individual test for you. So as you can see that before we were collaborating in teams, you were performing different activities individually in learning about the shape, about different shapes. You had flexibility of being exposed to this content and navigating yourself through different shapes. Now, as a teacher, I've assigned you an individual quiz to check your knowledge, everything that you've learned before. And as you can see that you just need to click start, and it's a 2D quiz where you can definitely, let's say, check how well you know things. And usually we try, you can see that if you didn't answer correctly, the correct answer is all this underlined green for the kids to know what the correct answer is for the next upcoming quiz that they will be taking. Good. I see some people definitely going through the questions and doing quite well. So I'll give you just 1 or 2 minutes to complete this activity. And then that would be an example of how you can facilitate interactive lessons to students and then have it not just a single experience, but there's a variety of activities that you can build your lessons with that can supplement each other. You start with giving the students an opportunity to explore different shapes. Then you want to, let's say, evaluate the understanding of how they understood the material. Then you assign them a quiz. And then we can talk a little bit more about how you can continue working with other applications of augmented reality and let your students do additional activities. So I will interrupt your class now and I will go into dashboard. I know we're running a little bit of time today, but once you've created an activity class, you can see that all the activities are actually logged in. And as a teacher, you can see all the statistics of how many students have participated, how they performed on different tasks, how long it took them. So you can actually do the assessment and the reporting based on those numbers and assign and again different activities to see how kids have improved their knowledge. So the same concept we have for geography, space, and other applications where you can explore content, but at the same time collaborate. I would like to show you two more apps very quickly, and we can certainly create a collaborative environment here, but I think as we're running out of time, I will just show them to you, and you can, once you create the augmented classroom, you can see how that works. A create mode, again, if we take an example, a geometry lesson, how you can extend it again by using augmented classroom activities here to help students to design their own content. You can say that you've learned about shapes and now let's create different real environments by, let's say, if you want your students to create a city, you can say that you need to create the city by using only rectangle and square objects to put in this environment. And then the students have a clear task that whatever 3D objects they choose, it has to be either square or rectangle. And then once they created this environment, they can do the presentation about what had happened and why they've chosen those 3D objects, etc. As you can see that they just put different objects in here by dragging and dropping. You have the opportunity, the concept's still the same. Just need to close this. There we go. I think something might not be working very well on my computer. So you can see that you can share with students as well, and you can have multiple students joining in the class. Let me try to see it here. Share a link, copy a link. You can paste it. And as you can see now, as a student, I will use the same thing and enter this environment. And there will be two people already engaged in the same environment doing the interactive activities. There are multiple landscapes that are available for creation. Almost you can create anything from historical battlefields or initiate activities all the way to creating where we live, the local environment, etc. So this is an example. There are two people now who join the activity, and I can move here, and the other person sees what the other person is putting some kind of 3D objects in the environment. And opposite, when I put something on my side, then the other person also sees that I'm collaborating with them. So this is a good extension to help the students develop their creativity, and there are multiple landscapes available. You can choose, here we go. Let me just look at, you can see there are different landscapes that you can choose from and assign it to either a group of students or all the students to join simultaneously one environment. We had over 20 people joining in one environment and all collaborating at the same time, having a blast. But obviously, if you want to restrict it to a smaller group of students, you can also do so. And the last application that has quite a unique implication in terms of what you can do with your students is AR Quest. And it's a great opportunity to facilitate interactive 3D quizzes. Can you put number 1 if you're familiar with Pokemon Go? the whole concept. Remember, kids were running around and trying to catch Pokemons. Okay, fantastic. So thank you so much for your feedback. It's really, really helpful. So the same concept applies now in educational purposes, where in the premises of the classroom or even outdoor, if you have internet connection, just in the field of the school, that students can perform those activities. The concept is very simple. You can create as a teacher a quiz. Doesn't matter which for which subject. It could be, let's say, simple quiz, like for kindergarten, learning about type of vehicles, or it could be a more complex quiz when we talk about different historical, let's say, activities, etc. But the goal here for you is to create questions and multi-choice answers. And for every correct answer, you add a 3D object to it. So, and this is something that the kids will be searching for when they perform this activity. You can also translate it to any language. If you chose a quiz from a public library, that's again one of the opportunities that we provide, that the teachers, when they create quizzes, they can add it to the public library. So maybe you on the other side of the world can choose it and use it in your class with your students. But we have multilingual teachers as well, and they can choose that quiz and translate to any language just with a matter of minutes. So once the quiz is created, what happens is that you can ask your students to join from the mobile devices your quiz that you will be facilitating. And then they will be using the mobile device by looking around them 360 degrees, trying to find that 3D object that is you've added as part of the quiz. You can see it's performed outside here, and the students is searching for a pumpkin. Once the pumpkin is found, the quiz will pop up and the students can complete the activity. So it's a very different approach to a pen and paper. Just show you once again. First, the kids were looking for a tractor, then they're looking for a pumpkin, and the quiz is a result of this interaction, just to spice up a little bit the whole activity. And we have some teachers who are doing the kind of weekly tests using this because it just provides a very different experience to students rather than sitting at the space, you know, with a piece of paper and a pen. So this is in a nutshell what augmented classroom is, how you can use that, how you can enhance the curriculum by applying augmented reality technology as part of your lessons, how you can help students to be more engaged, more motivated, want to learn. And the interesting part, what we've heard, is that using augmented reality in the classroom can help students to boost their information retention rate up to 100%. Students can see everything what they performed, because it's so intense, so visual, and it's so hands-on in the digital environment. And at the same time, as we have this such high retention rate, obviously the students eventually better perform at the exams or tests, because this information that they just remember what things they've performed. If the student has a low reading level, is there text to speech in the apps? Okay, so we do have, that's a very good question. Thank you very much. We do have quite a lot of English as a second language teachers using the application, or the students who are a little bit slow with reading. And mostly what happens, because the solution has a voiceover and the text and the picture, it actually can help students to learn to read. So first they hear, then they try to repeat, and that's how it could be applicable. So let's take an example, animals. You can use this application, for example, to boost students' vocabulary. And then when the student clicks on lion, he can hear the word lion, how to pronounce it. He can also see how it's written. And on top of that, he also sees how the lion looks like, even in close. and then what sound the line makes. So there are additional things that could be used as part of helping students to read and also improve their vocabulary. Good. So are there any questions that you have that maybe was not answered during the presentation? So please put a plus if you would be typing a question, and you're also very welcome to unmute yourself and ask a question if you would prefer so. If you don't have any questions, you're very welcome to put a minus. We talk pluses and minuses today. Okay, Kirsty, thank you very much. So if you do have any questions, you're very welcome to reach out. Kate at Spectronics or Nikki at Spectronics, they would be able to help. If for some reason they're beyond something that they can help you with, you're very welcome to reach directly to us. We always welcome queries. We'll always be glad to help. If you're interested in this 4-week pilot in your school, it would be great if you have a pair teacher who you can do it with. We'll be glad to help you with onboarding training and help you understand how that could be applicable in your class, how it can support your curriculum. Otherwise, after the session, you're very welcome to create your account. Just to remind that you will have 14 days of subscription. If you have any questions on the subscription, you're very welcome to click here. You will have all the pricing. We have special pricing for the touch boards because some of the schools have only touch boards in primary. Obviously, for the class and the school, there is an opportunity to use across multiple devices. So you can see the pricing. You can also see what is included in every price. And you're very welcome to reach the Spectronics for any questions in regards to pricing, in regards to direct invoicing. It could also be arranged directly through them, not just online.
Hi,
okay.
I just have a quick question about the 3 sessions. I've applied for the second one. Is the 3rd session just an optional one if you miss out, or?
Kate, Nikki, would you be able to answer that? I think that would be a question to you about the 3rd session.
Yes, so the first session was obviously just an introduction to what augmented reality is. The second session will kind of look more in depth at lesson planning and facilitating classes. And then the 3rd session will look at some games and activities that you can do with your students.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
No worries.
Okay. I have a couple of questions here in the chat. Lee, I see that you had difficulties in using the app on the phone. I would suggest try to create the Augmented classroom, and you can actually facilitate the class to yourself. Open it in the web browser, and then pick up the mobile device and try to create the class and try to experience that once again. I would also suggest the pictures, the markers of shapes that you've seen today. They were shown to you on the screen. I would suggest to print them out because you'll have a better experience from a horizontal perspective. The same thing, for example, for the geography map, you can also print it out and it would be much better experience. So just have a look and see. If you have any technical difficulties, Lee, you're very welcome to reach out, and I would need print screens and we'll be glad to help you. Okay, so on the website on my computer, I have created an account and signed in. It looks good. I just can't see the dashboard on the site. Okay, yes, the dashboard on the left-hand side, this is for the admin account. So you would not see that. You will only have the dashboard at the top, but it's the same thing. Okay, usually when you use a mobile, you would have the page printed. It is a little hard to screen. Correct. Yes, Kate. Good. So if there are no questions, it's been absolutely pleasure to being here with you today. Thank you very much to Kate and Nikki to provide this information, this opportunity, and I hope that you've learned something new today.